I remember this time where my customer brought me into an emergency meeting. We were in this test cycle and things had gone terribly wrong. There was a major database error, and we had to get all these solution architect people together to try to figure out what went wrong, how to fix it, because there were literally hundreds of people waiting to get started on testing, but the system was down. And I was called into this escalation meeting in my program manager capacity, and I was sitting there and I was listening. And I already had a bit of a tip off from my architect who was sitting next to me in this meeting, and we're just hearing all the frustration and the anger build up from the customer. And after they spent maybe 15 minutes or so describing the problem and the impact and all that, I said, "All right, are we done here?" And this program director looked at me in the eye and he said, "Are you understanding the severity of the issue that we're talking about?" And I looked him dead in the face and I said, "Obviously I understand what you're talking about. That's why I'm asking if we're done. Do you want it fixed or do you want to keep talking about it?" And he looked at me, his jaw nearly dropped to the floor, and he said, and he stammered a bit. He was like, "Yeah, yeah, I guess we are done. Let me know as soon as you have a plan to resolve this." The point that I'm making, and just to get to the end of the story, my team and I were able to work through the matter, figure out where the technical fault happened, get this system back up and running because it was a system for hundreds of thousands of users, and that's why we had hundreds of people waiting to test the solution, and every day meant about $1 million spend. It was a lot of money that was being spent on this program, but the point fundamentally was, in that high stress situation, I looked to synthesize the information, come up with ideas and plans with my team, first in my own head, but then with the team, and then we look to immediately springing to action. When you are a solid consultant, a program manager, project manager, a business analyst, whatever, you're going to find yourself in these tense situations, and what you have to do when that happens to you is that you must not buckle under pressure. You cannot crumble. You cannot absorb your client's anxiety and then sound like an anxious person. Because the thing that got the customer through this major issue was being cool, calm, and collected. And that's what I teach people, how to react under pressure, how to make sure that you don't panic, and how to get the job done. Drop a comment.